Hey there everyone, welcome to Pass the Game Challenge, where 6 game developers make a game in 7 days with no communication between them whatsoever. Each developer gets 1 day to work on the project and then they pass it on to the next one. The original idea is by Prod, but they blatantly ignore my email asking if I can participate in his video, so I made it by myself. Now, let's get on to the first developer. Hello, I am Cherry, the host of this challenge, and my goal for today is to actually create a prototype so other developers have something to base on. At first I had no idea what to actually do, so I decided to just play around with movement until I found something cool which reminded me of some kind of a spaceship. Next up I decided to add some kind of a drill feature so you can mine asteroids and gain resources. After that I decided to actually create some kind of a UI, very basic UI, to actually show you how much resources you have. And the last thing that I decided to do in my time was to add some kind of a shop. I actually made the shop in a way that you can create an item object that you can put in a store and expand the amount of items in it infinitely. I have no idea where this project can go, and well, I hope that this draft will inspire the next developers to figure something out. And well, I'm actually working on an indie game myself called On the Wind's Breath. It's an unconventional platformer where you use wind to guide a dandelion seed to fertile soil where it can grow into a beautiful flower. Feel free to check it out on Steam, and now let's get on to the next developer.
Hi guys, I am Fluky Dev. I am currently making a 2D horror game with a somewhat unique gameplay mechanic. Make sure to check out the devlogs on my YouTube channel. Apparently I am the first dev in this project, but luckily I didn't have to start from scratch because I was given a very basic prototype to start with. First of all, I play tested this prototype to see what it's all about. You are this triangle with a small drill and you can drill these asteroids or circles to earn resources. There's also this shop, but it doesn't do anything yet. First up I realized that the shop layout was kind of broken, so I fixed that first. I didn't like the simple geometrical shapes at all, so I grabbed a nice color palette from the internet and made some basic sprites for the player, the asteroids and most of the other objects. I also added 2 upgrades to the shop. One makes the player's drill longer and one increases its damage. I also made the resources in the inventory decrease when you buy an upgrade. Next up I wanted to work on the asteroids. I made them spawn on random locations within 100 units around the player's start position. They stop spawning when a certain maximum amount of them is active in the scene. I also made them move slightly in random directions and applied a slight rotation to them. After that I added a map border to limit the game in some way, so the player can't move away to a point where they don't encounter any asteroids anymore. I know this border is a bit weird and could need some improvement, but maybe one of the next devs does it. To add some kind of challenge to the game I made these enemies that shoot at the player and the player can even shoot back after buying bullets in the shop. You can also upgrade your shooting speed. As you can see, I also added a text that tells you how much ammo you currently have, as well as little icons for both the resources and the bullets. I actually wanted to change the looks of the shop icon, but I was already running out of time. So all I could do was add a text so the player actually knows that this is the shop. And I also changed the font color in the shop so it's more readable. And yes, that's everything I did. I had a pretty fun time setting this up, and I hope I set a good start for the next dev.
Hi, I'm PG Pixels, the developer of a tactics chess-like game called Deer Hunt. You can check it out on my YouTube and wishlist it on Steam. So the first thing I noticed right after getting into the game is, I'm sorry, but the movement sucks. It's heavily physics based, which is a cool idea, but it makes it extremely hard to control the spaceship. Even if you just barely hit an asteroid, it will just send you into an uncontrollable spin. So I reworked the movement, that it still feels like skating on ice. But now you are able to steer the ship into the direction you want to. I also added more speed to the ship to make the game faster pace. Talking about fast pace, see this drill? It has to go. The drill currently serves only one purpose in the game, which is to collect the resources for upgrades. But to do that, you have to stop, which slows down the gameplay. And the game already has a shooting mechanic, so I just replaced drilling the asteroids with shooting them. I also wanted to leave some impact on the game visually, so I decided to take the art that's already in the game and give it a little resprite. And what are those? Those are the new comet types, so now the player has to decide between whether to defend from the enemies or collect the right resources for the upgrades. There's the standard rock comet, but now there is also the gold comet and the ice comet, which has a rare chance to spawn with the deer frozen inside of it. But why a deer and not a dinosaur, for example? Well, that's because deers are cute, so wishlist my game Deer Hunt on Steam right now. Seriously, do it. Lastly, I wanted to implement a background, as the last time I checked, space wasn't blue. So I copied this fog shader from my game, changed the colors of it to black, and added this scrolling star texture on top of it, which I think came together nicely. And that would be it for me. Bye.
Hi, I am RocClaus, and on my channel I make devlogs for my games. They're currently about Bottled Sky, which is my top-down action space adventure game where I try to use this drill as the main mechanic in as many ways as I can. I started playing the game and immediately realized my little spaceship was under attack, so I quickly figured out the controls. There were some issues that I encountered in my first playthrough, so I wrote down my notes and made it my plan to solve these issues for my part of this challenge. My first problem I wanted to solve was how difficult it was to use A and D to rotate. It's fine for movement, but I had a rough time trying to precisely aim at some enemies and would often oversteer back and forth repeatedly before I could finally land some hits. I decided to correct this by instead allowing the spaceship to rotate to face the mouse cursor, which gives you much more precise control over which direction you're aiming and moving. From there, I considered turning this into a twin-stick shooter by repurposing the WASD controls, but I decided to be cheeky and actually removed most of those controls, and now the shuttle can only move forwards towards the cursor by holding W. The next problem I wanted to fix was this shop. Some words were readable, but overall I couldn't figure out what each upgrade did in my first playthrough, so I cleaned up the UI code to see what they were supposed to be. Wait, a drill upgrade? I dug through the code a bit more, and it seems like this mechanic was actually removed, so the upgrade doesn't do anything. In fact, most of these upgrades don't do anything. I chose to remove all of the useless upgrades and leave only these two. The third issue in my notes is that there is no feedback or visuals that tell you anything about your spaceship's health. I don't have too much time left as the shop menu stuff took so long, so I couldn't add much feedback to combat, but I did throw together a quick health bar that shows you how much health you have left. I even found an existing color palette asset in the project, which I used to automatically color the health bar based on how full it is. Now, I'm definitely out of time, and the day after doing this part of the challenge, I needed to travel halfway around the world, so I quickly packaged this up and passed it on to the next dev. If you like these kinds of action space games, then check out my devlog videos for Bottled Sky on my channel, RocClaus.
And since every developer gets to advertise their own channel in this video, so does the sponsor of this video, Starforge Systems. Whether you're a gamer, content creator, or a professional in need of reliable computing power, Starforge Systems has you covered. Their meticulously crafted PCs are built with precision and expertise, delivering unmatched performance for your every need. Not only do they offer state-of-the-art PCs, but also sleek and stylish cases that combine form and function seamlessly. And let's not forget about their mesmerizing plate lights that add a touch of personality to your setup. If you're looking to upgrade your PC, or you're looking for the perfect Christmas gift for a gamer, Starforge Systems has got you covered. Link in the description down below.
Hey, I'm Taya. I post devlog series as well tutorials on my YouTube channel. Check it out if you're interested. As I opened the project, I had no idea what I get. I played the game for a few minutes and was surprised how addictive the movement mechanic was. I loved the idea of destroying asteroids and collecting the resources to buy upgrade. Because the pixel style is so basic for space shooter games, I changed all pixel sprites with these hand-drawn sprites. It took a lot of time to draw them, especially the explosion effects. My only wish is that this effect won't be deleted. It took an hour to draw it. To make all that better, I added a screen shake as well some nice post-processing effect. I downloaded a free spaceship sprite and imported it into Unity. I played the shop and the stocking station and made a little tutorial down here. I deleted the tutorial on the UI because I changed the shooting input system to mouse instead of the spacebar. I also added a weapon to the spaceship that shoots enemies. I hope that the next devs will notice it and add it into the upgrade system. I uploaded the changes on time and I'm looking forward to see the final result.
Hello everyone, Vector here. So when I opened the project, there was a solid jump game with some enemies already, and I quite liked the art style. There was also an unfinished shop menu which was calling me, but I decided not to touch it. The first thing I wanted to work on was actually on the gameplay. The mechanics were there, but there was no go, so here's what I came up with. In the map there are 6 stations, and those stations are neutral, but for the player to win, all stations must be conquered by the player. Pretty simple, but I think it gives the player something to do. So I started by laying out the screens and how I wanted this to play out. The original idea was to maybe make a multiplayer, then I realized there was not enough time to do that. Then I implemented the station system and connected all the screens to connect all the menus and levels together, and also created a template for spaceships. So basically what I did was create a data object that contains the spaceship prefab and the sprite, so the player can select between multiple spaceships. And I created only 2 for now. So for example, the red one was easier to control, but the green one dealt more damage. And I guess that's pretty much it. So let's see what the other devs came up with.
Hi, this is RocClaus. I'm filling in for another dev who unfortunately wasn't able to join the challenge, so I get to take another crack at this project. So just like my first part, I started by just playing the game as it was and making notes about what could be improved. Already, I can see that the game has underwent a visual overhaul since I last played, although despite that, I was surprised to see that the shop didn't get any visual treatment. Even more surprisingly was that the shop was empty. It only took me a few minutes to figure out how to put all the upgrades back into the shop, so I imagine that something just went wrong with source control and sending the project from dev to dev, because there were just some missing references. My notes mentioned a few details like how the control to shoot projectiles has changed from spacebar to left click and how it took me a while to understand the purpose of these circular zones, but probably my biggest issue with the project as it is that there is still no audio. With that, I decided that most of my contributions for this part of the challenge would be to add sound effects to absolutely everything I deemed important enough to gameplay. In between making sound effects, I also made several changes to the gameplay. The first was making our spaceship shoot 2 projectiles instead of 1. Collecting resources became a bit annoying due to them having some very slidey physics, so I changed them so that they home in on you much more accurately when you're within range. I noticed that enemy spaceships no longer drop resources, so I created my own health pickup that enemies will drop 50% of the time and restore 1 health upon collection. They have a slightly unique feature that they won't follow you and can't be collected if you're at full health. Considering I spent quite a bit of time fixing the shop last time, I missed out on creating my own upgrade, so I created the simplest thing I could think of, which was to upgrade max health. Finally, I'll shut up for a bit so you can listen to all of the new sound effects in action. That about wraps up my part. I already did a little self-promo earlier, but in case you forgot, I make devlog videos on my channel RocClaus, and I've been working on my game Bottled Sky. If you like action space games like the one being made for this challenge, then check out my channel where I talk about all sorts of design thoughts that go into making this kind of game.
And now that all the developers have finished working on their parts of the project, let's see how actually they react to the changes that were made.
Oh, that's a cool looking menu. I like the sheep. Wait, we can choose skins now? That's cool. Alright, W move, mouse aim and shoot. I can't shoot. How do I shoot? I can't shoot. Okay, let's just run. I love how the background looks. I mean, the bloom and the vignette like really adds a lot. Stop shooting now. Oh my god, there's so many of them. Stop shooting at me. I don't know what I just did, but let's run. I have 2 HP. Alright, one more. Mission complete.
Alright, so right off the bat I can see the stars have been brought back and it looks shiny around the shuttle. Can't seem to shoot with either left click or space, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I think there's just one more, having trouble finding it though. Oh, found it. Alright, a little bit anticlimactic at the end, but that's it.
Alright, let's see how this game turned out. So I can see that the title screen is still in. So we're in the game. The background looks a little bit different. Oh yeah, the enemies can kill each other, which is pretty fun actually. Oh my god, look at that. That's pretty much a laser. I believe it is. Yeah, there you go. Mission completed. Alright, that's pretty sweet.
In general, the project isn't really too stable, but I'm really happy with how it came out, taking it only was 7 days and well 6 different developers. The project will be available on itch.io, just know it's not really too stable, the link to it will be down in the description below, and hope you enjoyed. Check out all of the developers' channels on YouTube, linked down in the description below, along with the On the Wings of Steam page, and hope you enjoyed. Have a nice one, bye!